something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Hey, folks, how are ya? How are ya? How are ya? Is your Thursday doing all right? Who used to do that how are ya, how are ya, how are ya thing? Fozzie Bear off the Muppets. God, there's a flashback. Don't know where that one came from. How you doing? Hope you've had a good sort of a Thursday. We've been out and about doing things today. When I say we, I mean Tony has really been doing the out and about stuff, traipsing around Victoria. This morning, very early, 8:30, we went live from the first of two properties owned by Colin Fenton, lovely gentleman, and his family who have been on the property, one of them for over 100 years. His father bought the property at age 19 and built it up from scratch. Here's Colin today. He's in his 80s today, bloody huge case tractor there behind him, and had a lot of support from locals as well. So great to see. That's only a very small portion of it, of the group that was there. It's a great thing to see so many locals getting involved and so many townies now starting to wake up to what's happening in their local area. And we sent our Tony out on the road. So he helped us get some pictures from the first event and the second event today. And we also piggybacked a bit off Billboard Battalion, and I'll talk to Nick from Billboard Battalion very shortly, and we'll talk a bit more about what happened today. I will bring you up to date with some goings on. Let's have a look in the house, though, and see who in the family arrived first. Gomez, first in the house tonight, mate. Lovely to have you in. Thank you for the spot coverage of your report today. Yep, appreciate it. Appreciate that somebody watched. And I know that, well, the numbers may not be huge. We're not doing it for the numbers. I guess we sort of do it for the numbers. We'd like to see those numbers increase. But it's more so that the farmers can get their message out, so that their plight can be heard by others who hopefully will take the time, as Tony did, to drive out of the city and go and support these farmers who are having their livestock or livelihoods impacted so badly by an outrageous state government who's just making laws to do whatever the hell they want. Lady Ryder in the house too, very early tonight. Lovely to have you in. The lovely Sue was only a 15th behind. And as always, she wants us to, we all want you to give us a thumbs up. Do it now. Go on. Give us a thumbs up right now. And if you haven't already done so, go and check out the subscribe button. See if you are still subscribed. I've had 2 emails in the last 3 days from people who said, just because you mentioned that, I went and checked it and I had been unsubscribed. So 2 emails in 3 days. I think I've only mentioned it twice. So go and check. And if you have been unsubscribed, please resubscribe. We would love to have you here. The lovely Deb, how are you, darling? How's life in South Australia? I trust it's doing okay. Connie, is it your birthday today? Was it your birthday yesterday? Is it your birthday soon? I want to say your birthday is coming up. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Connie. Happy birthday to you. There you go. I don't sing happy birthday to everybody. In fact, I owe somebody a happy birthday song from a couple of days ago. I forget who that is. I'm sure you'll remind me at some stage. So, Connie, yes, many happy returns for you. I want to say it's today, but I could be wrong. Watching the fall of the Berlin Wall, were you, Deb? Well, yeah, that was a big moment for us all, wasn't it? And 30 years later, look where we are. Well, I can tell you that people who were there at the fall of the Berlin Wall are very unhappy at the Germany of today. I can tell you, I've got a very dear friend who lives in Munich, and he escaped from East Germany. I'm trying to figure out how to tell his story to you, because it really is quite a tale. We're the same age, and my father was German. We've discussed that. And I was lucky enough to be taken to Germany on a couple of occasions to meet my German relatives, so to speak. And Dirk lived next door to my grandparents. So we've been friends since I was 5 years old. And he is shattered by what's happened to the Germany that he knows and loves. He didn't love it all that much. He wanted to be out of East Germany, as that's what it was back in those days. And he tells a very interesting and quite harrowing at times story about wanting to get out, being you had to approach the government to get out in those days. And for some long time, there were interviews that were conducted with the Stasi, sometimes with a loaded gun sitting on the table, where they pressed him, wanted to know why he wanted to get out of East Germany and what he planned to do when he got out, all these horrible sorts of things. Anyway, they came for him one night, basically gave him 2 hours to pack up everything, say goodbye to his family, said, "You'll never see your family again." And they took him to the border and threw him over it. And he was never to see them again. This was prior to the Berlin Wall coming down. Of course, once the Berlin Wall did come down, he was able to get back in and see his mother and his father and his sister. And thankfully still today has his mum and his sister around and can still go and see them. But he says it's a completely different country, a bit like Australia is. There aren't too many Australians left in Australia, is the saying at the moment. And in Victoria particularly, I saw some images taken of the centre of Melbourne, the city. A variety of places, Bourke Street Mall, St Paul's Cathedral, Flinders Street station, Elizabeth Street sort of station, looking down there. And one thing struck me. These were artistic photos. They were done beautifully. They were really, really nice artwork type photos. What struck me was there was not one white face in any of them. I didn't really go looking for white faces. I was 3 or 4 photos deep before I thought, that's weird. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then the one at Flinders Street Station, where you would ordinarily think there would be such a myriad and mix of nationalities and cultures coming up and down those steps, not a white face amongst them. And I found that strange. And then I started seeing news articles about how many Victorians are moving to Queensland again. And that strange little bloke that reports on Hollywood and all such plastic things for the TV networks. What's his name? Ford. Somebody Ford. He's moved to the Gold Coast because Melbourne is just too dangerous. Left John Michael Howson to fend for himself. I don't know what you're thinking. But yeah, Melbourne is a very dangerous place to live. Insurance premiums through the roof. Personally, I think it'd probably be a bad thing if the power did go off in Melbourne for a while. But some of those people in Melbourne are used to having no power, and that's why they come and take shit. At any rate, not a place I'd like to be at. Crunch, yeah, been taken over by foreigners and encouraged that way. Well, I can tell you that you're not going to see too many foreigners running the farms out there in the central Victoria, central Western, Wimmera, Mallee, Western District areas. Don't know that you'll see too many of them down Gippsland way either. And what you will see is history. What you will see is pride and honour. and Australian farmers who are very proud of the legacy that their forebears have brought to the land that was in many cases settled by their grandfathers or great-grandfathers after their return from the First or the Second World War. And they're not going to let it be taken over real easy. 160,000 people to be cut from the NDIS in a major overhaul. This was flagged at a press conference yesterday. Meant to mention it last night, but 160,000 people. Well, all right. By when? Well, it appears maybe by 2030. The health minister says the government will take a hard decisions approach to reduce growth of the National Disability Insurance Scheme and ensure its future viability. So they're not reducing it by 160,000 by 2030. They're just not going to add at the current rate they're currently adding to the National Disability Insurance Scheme. And that's probably 160,000 people between now and 2030. Butler indicated that he wanted to reduce the growth of the program by 5 or 6% per year or lower. So he's not reducing the program, not reducing anybody on it, not doing anything about what's on there currently, just going to reduce its growth over the next few years. He voiced his desire to cut the cost of third-party providers by targeting those with few qualifications or service backgrounds and flagged changing eligibility criteria formed by functional capacity. Functional capacity. Now, there's two words you'd take a government person to put together. I don't know that they'd actually understand them, but I'm sure they'll get a definition for it and send somebody out with a clipboard to make sure you're functionally capacitating, so to speak. What do you think about that? Is that just playing with words? I'm sure it's playing with words. They're not reducing anything. And from what I understand, the two young blokes that exposed the NDIS frauds in Western Sydney have been targeted by Western Sydney's worst lawyer. It's alleged that this lawyer has written legal letters to those two young blokes who queried the viability and professionalism of a certain NDIS provider in Western Sydney somewhere, to a point where there are now some major threats, defamation being thrown at the word defamation being thrown around a great deal. And I must say, by this bloke in particularly hilarious ways. Defamation is a very powerful law that protects you if I say something particularly egregious about you. Now, if I say something particularly egregious about you, then I have a certain burden upon me to prove that you are that egregious person I tell others that you are. I have to be able to prove that or demonstrate that. Otherwise, I lose and you get to sue me for, well, I've got nothing, so you can have all of it. But you'll get the gloating ability to say, oh, yeah, I sued him. Defamation is being thrown around a lot, and I fear that many in this new space, if you like, this new podcasting space, many people don't actually understand what it means, don't understand the legalities as it pertains to their show. If you have a guest on, if I have a guest on who says something awful about you and you take umbrage at them, it's not just the person who says that about you that could be sued. So could I, because it's my show they said it on. Now, I don't have much of a fallback. This show is live. I can't do anything about what goes out live, but if it were pre-recorded, I could certainly edit something that I suspected would get me sued out. I've never had to do it, thankfully, touch wood. But there have been times, and there are certain people that I avoid putting on live because I don't trust what they'll say. You know who you are. Because they don't understand the defamation laws, and they're quite happy to say, "Oh, no, nobody's going to get sue us." Well, yeah, they are, and the Masons are currently having a go at Guru, and I think are succeeding by the sounds of it. I think the judges reserved her decision, but judging by what I read of the final arguments for both sides, it will be an interesting decision when handed down. If it may have already been handed down, I don't know, I'm not following it. But that case was about defamation, and it wasn't anything that Guru said. It was a guest on Guru's program who said something, but he was being sued for it. And interestingly, being sued by one of, if not the oldest, Masonic branch of the order. So interesting, I thought, from a few different angles, in that I've had some experience with that order myself, not in a legal sense. Well, funnily enough, yes, in a legal sense, because the bloke who told me all about it was a lawyer. But I haven't been in trouble with them, and fingers crossed it'll stay that way, because I've got hopefully a better idea of what I can and can't say without getting myself thrown into court. And there's no point going to court. There's no point suing me. I've got nothing to give you except a bad taste in your mouth and a really, 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 really bad headache that you'll get. But aside from that, not too much. In Ireland, they're giving like never before. The Irish, they're saying, are taking back. Ireland has fallen. Well, I would say Ireland has risen. They are pushing back in numbers never seen since the Great Potato Famine, I don't think. Farmers, townsfolk, schools, school children, everybody is pushing back and being laid very firmly the blame for all of it Keir Starmer's feet. Sovereignty is the issue, and they feel that their sovereignty has been taken by Starmer and the European Union and associated others. And my Lord, they do have a lot of evidence to back them up. So they are going to continue the fight, have absolutely no doubt, and they want the rest of the world to stand up. I heard today of 297 countries in the world, America supplies money to 100 and over 140 of them, of 197 countries. I don't know how true that is, but that's a pretty staggering statistic if it is in fact real. The war, for what it is, the no ceasefire, okay, let's extend the ceasefire, the unending or unceasing ceasefire, as from last night's show, which I also forgot to talk about, is continuing. Now, Iran have released vision of, I don't know, I didn't even bother capturing it because it's so funny to watch. They've released vision of their commandos storming and taking control of a bulk carrier, a big cargo container ship in the Gulf. These piddly little speedboats, which I will admit can travel at a pretty fair rate, pulled up beside a towering container ship. These people did not have a boarding rope or a ladder. Instead, someone on the ship had opened up one of the doors on a deck that's sort of, you don't even know it's a door. It's just a side part of the ship that opens up lower down than the main top deck, and put out a complete rigged ladder for them, which would be the ladder that the ship would normally use, I guess. This was not a storming or an unexpected journey. This was enabled by people on board who, oh, okay, right, the Iranians come on, well, we'll make it easy for them. We'll put the ladders over the sides. So all these buggers had to do was literally climb up the ladder that the ship supplied for them to climb up. And then the other giveaway was the cameramen that were all in position. It was a bit like the moon landing. I mean, how did these blokes get a camera where they got cameras before they got blokes where they got blokes? It's a little weird. Dare I say, well, yeah, I will say staged, exactly 100% staged. But then Iran are also dancing around in the streets over the weekend, waving around all the missiles that apparently have been blown up by Donald Trump, except this one. When I say blown up, I suspect that one is as well, kind of blown up. Inflatables, big business in inflatables. Many of you saw a C-135, I think it was, a Hercules, that was left behind on the runway at Kabul in Afghanistan when the Americans left. Do you remember that? And all the Afghanis were pushing it down the runway. They were walking along, they climbed all over and they were running along. You couldn't actually see the bottom of the wheels of it or anything like that. That was a blow-up plane. They used them for, well, defense, I suppose, to distract the enemy. They'll park those things and blow them up on different parts of old runways. And if the enemy flies over and they say, oh, there's a Herc, I'll blow that up. Well, all they're doing is blowing up a bit of plastic. But they do look very, very realistic, granted. Could that be a blown up, looking very, very, very realistic missile of whatever proportions? I guess we'll find out soon, because the ceasefire, while being lengthened at the moment and appearing to be blessed by Donald Trump, is not as clear as to who is agreeing to it from the Iranian side. Once again, the IRGC seem to be having a great time boarding ships, and there is a report out today that it could take as much as 6 months to clear the shipping lanes of the mines that Iran laid. What bullshit is that? Iran didn't get a chance to lay thousands of mines in the time between America and Israel attacking and them still having boats able enough to do it, or them closing the straits. Now, they might have got some mines out, I would agree, but 6 months to clear a couple of shipping lanes? I don't think so, Tim. It's quite strange, but great if you want to jam up the prices of fuel. And Shell have been asked some interesting questions, speaking of jamming the price of fuel. There have been some Senate meetings in the last few days, and Punters Politics has been front and centre amongst them. In fact, he's copped a flogging from certain, I think it's Sky News commentators, who want to know who he is and how petulant he is and yada, 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 all because he's figured out that we pay more in beer tax than we do in gas tax than we get in gas royalties. It's ridiculous. So he's obviously got some support from members in the parliament who've been able to get him a bit of access and be able to make this sort of statement and be involved in answering questions of the senators in the last week or so. I'm not going to play any of his stuff because it just gets me copyright banned, but go and check it out. He spent a good 20, 25 minutes answering questions and making statements, and he raises excellent points, which I think fair-thinking, right-minded, halfway intelligent politicians will agree with. And if they can't agree with it, you'll watch them squirm very uncomfortably about it. So all power to the punter. He's done very, very well there. And, raising $75,000 to get a lobbyist in that place to make sure that he can be heard looks like it's paying off. You sort of can't really ask for much more than that, I guess. So good luck to him, doing well. We spoke about deaths recently and celebrity deaths, all that kind of thing. It was announced today, sadly, that this bloke has passed away. I never had much to do with James. He got into radio via a different path, but we did meet on a couple of occasions at industry things. That he was a sort of a cool ABC guy. You didn't mind talking to him. And he had a rock and roll history. He used to be the saxophonist with the Models. Remember that? Out of mind, out of sight, all that kind of thing. So sadly, James passed away, 64, and well jabbed, cancer, aggressive type. Very sad, very sad, very sad. Some Western Australian farmers, and look, today is going to be a bit of a farming show. I just want to throw out there my congratulations, and if you see any of this kind of artwork in the next week or so, please take a picture and send it to me, carl@vofhq.com. There are some supremely talented people in our community who maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, go and do something that just makes such a difference to people while they're driving down the road. And right now, there is a bloke in Western Australia who has done this with a couple of bales of hay and put them up on the side of the road. Now, this is from Mora, just outside of Mora in Western Australia. I think that's how you say it. Apologies if it's not. But a great Anzac rendering and a couple of bales of hay. I've seen other things like that over recent years. So if you do see anything like that in your area, folks, please let me know and take photos of it. Send it to carl@vofhq.com if you would. Well, no access, no negotiation, and piss off VicGrid. That's basically the story of this week, all through certain parts of Victoria. Northern Victoria, Central Victoria, Western Central Victoria, all affected by what's going on with this energy grid. And of course, today we were lucky enough to be able to piggyback off Billboard Battalion's Starlink connection and take you to the gates as the VNI crews were trying to gain access. Joining me from Billboard Battalion, Nick, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Carl. How you going? Hi, all your listeners.
It's been a big day. You've been with the Fenton family. Their two properties were approached today by VNI West. You started at 8:30 this morning at the first gate, and a good roll-up of locals to help Colin show support.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we went to their first property, a place called Dingwall, which is between Bort and Kerrang in North Central Victoria. And yeah, there was quite a few people turned up, and the officers from VNI West came along to ask for access to do their ecological survey. And the other day they came along and did their thing pretty quick, but today Colin felt like having a bit of a chat to him about what his gripes were. So they wanted to get away quickly, but they didn't get to. So they got to hear what Colin had to say there. So
no, they got their $130 an hour pay this time round. I don't know that it's $130 an hour, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it could well be more than that. Who would know? There's enough of them. There was several of them, several vehicles.
Well, that's the thing. I noticed that they send up, what I would consider to be young or inexperienced people, and standing around in the background, not wearing the safety shirts, not wearing any ID, are I'm going to call them a shady bunch. But I imagine that they are executives from VNI.
So I think. Well, the ones in the high-vis shirts were what are called authorised officers from DECA, Department of Environment, Energy and Climate Change, or Climate Action, I think that stands for. So it's a Victorian department. So they're authorised officers. And then the other ones, I believe some of them were the security, whatever that means. And I think some of them were from VicGrid, I think, or VNI West. I don't know if that's a separate entity or what, but they were wearing VicGrid branded clothing, whether they're VNI West, I mean, so I'm not sure. But then there's also the ecologists that were going to do the survey. They were sitting in the car, I think, a little bit up the road. They weren't going to come until they were called. But,
it'd be a long day sitting in the car for them, I suspect, not getting too many calls to come onto anybody's property.
That's right. Yeah.
There are a small number of farmers who have no problem with, having power lines placed over their crops, but the problem with that is that there are a resounding larger number of them that don't, and these power lines require everybody to agree, don't they?
Well, the problem is with that argument is that they've now given compulsory access. Right, the state government has given compulsory access, so they don't have to get everyone to agree. They're going to bulldoze their way through it unless we all come together and put a stop to it.
I heard one of the gents today speaking at the gate saying that townies weren't really aware that this was happening to properties just outside of their town, but when they were made aware of it, they were pretty vocal about it in their support of local farmers. What can we do to better alert the townies to what's going on, do you think?
Well, something that I've been talking to a few of the people about the last few days, and I mean, this is a message that we've been trying to get through to people for a few years now, but it's as all these issues are starting to come together, it's getting more and more clear that I think it's the right thing to do. Is we need to. So these people, they've got a whole heap of very serious concerns about what's going to happen with their farm, with the effect it's going to have on their farming practices, with the destruction of the environment, with fire risk and all these other things. But the problem is that's all very much, what would you say? It's out of sight, out of mind for most people. So most people, while they might not like it or it might be concerning to them, it's not going to be enough to get most people to take action. So what we need to do, we've now got one common threat and enemy amongst pretty much everyone in the whole country, whether they realise it or not, and they are going to run us out of electricity. They're going to run us out of fuel, and they are going to run us out of food. So what I think we need to do is we need to start getting everyone that's involved in all this to really push that message to the city people and to the country people. But they also critically need to be saying that this is part of the plan. That is a deliberate strategy. They are deliberately running us out of those things. So and that's
Wade's been saying that consistently for years, hasn't he?
He has, yes. And look, that's a very extreme position to take, but it is true. And the more that these people come together as one united force and say that together, the community will accept it. If they see the leaders in the community saying it, the average person will accept it.
True that.
And it's getting harder and harder for people to deny these things. It's getting clearer and clearer that that's what's happening. And we just need to get people to understand it and to take, to be scared enough to start taking action.
So can you just explain to the townies that don't understand, why is it such a problem to get a power line put through your property?
Well, it's going to cause all sorts of interruptions to people's farming practices, and there's lots of different types of farming going on, irrigated dry land, broadacre cropping, all sorts of other things. So they're going to have tracks or sealed roads or gravel roads or whatever dividing up their properties where they're trying to crop. There's the potential for arcing from the very high voltage lines down to machinery and so forth. But the biggest problem, and there's also the risk of it starting fires, and all. But it's also putting these lines through. That's going to then attract all of the renewable infrastructure, the solar and the wind and the batteries, to be then brought into these areas to piggyback off that line. But the bigger issues. Sorry, you go.
No. Well, I was just going to say that is one of the bigger issues going forward. Yeah, getting called forward.
It is, but even worse than that still. And look, people were saying today, and this is true. If this infrastructure was actually necessary and it was in the benefit of the country, most people would say, all right, well, this is a problem for us, but we'll work around it. We'll deal with it. But the problem is, it's not. This is going to run us out of electricity, and that is the objective of it. They are deliberately sabotaging our energy systems, and this line and all this transmission network they're building and the renewable infrastructure is going to crash our grid.
I had no idea just to what extent Australia is aiding in the Congo being raped, not just of its cobalt reserves, but the people who live there and call it home. They're having their livelihood stolen from them. They work as slaves for the Chinese. Now, the Chinese are popping up all over in all parts of the world, but particularly now showing their flag here in Australia through the renewables. Cobalt, of course, required for all of those windmills and all of the solar-powered or solar cell generation. Australians are pretty upset. I think that Spotlight program has highlighted to a lot of people that, you know, we are basically looking at what is the blood diamonds of the 21st century, aren't we?
Yeah, look, I watched that show, and it's pretty upsetting stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not completely across the specifics of that and how accurate everything they said was, but that alone should be enough to make people think that something's seriously wrong with this. But unfortunately, I don't think it will be. I think it's the same as the issues people are having on their farms with the interruption to their practices and the environment and the fire risk. I think that's something that the average person is not going to. It's not going to be enough to get people spurred into action. Whereas I think this thing about running out of food, electricity, and fuel, I think that's about the best chance we got.
And they don't understand that what's happening now in our paddocks, and your paddocks particularly in central Western Victoria, is going to affect our plates in the months ahead.
Yeah, well, it might be a little while off yet, but it's certainly coming down the track in the not too distant future, in the next few years anyway.
So we would encourage all the townies to get out and about. And if you are in Victoria at the moment, it's very easy. There are a number of support groups that people can join and be notified of these invasion events, if you want to call them something that strong. It really is what's happening, though. But VNI West or VicGrid coming onto people's properties and wanting to do these surveys. Now, they're being knocked back at every turn, or at most turns. That just means, and you can tell by their smug look on their face and their little cameras that they're using to record everything, that now they're probably going away and writing up a fine. Now, that fine, I believe, the first fine to the farmers for not allowing access is $6,000. Is that right?
I've had that much going on today. I'd have to go back and double check, but I got a feeling it might be 8,000.
Okay.
So
that's the first offence fine.
Yeah, I think so. As far as I know, there's been no fines issued so far, and I will just say I'm not certain that $8,000 figure is correct. It could be 6,000, but it's something like that.
It's a significant amount of money.
It is.
Now, a lot of questions were being asked of the representatives today about court action, and did they know about this particular court statement or ombudsman statement, etc. They don't seem to be aware of any of this, nor have a care for learning any of this. That doesn't bode well for the future, does it?
No, it doesn't. And look, whether they know it or not, I've got no idea. But they've made it clear they're not authorised to speak about those things, and they're not going to speak about anything other than what's on their script, more or less. So, whenever anyone tried to put anything to them, they basically said, this is we're not here to talk about that. We're just here to talk about getting access.
Yeah, right. Yep. All right. Listen, I know you've got other places to be, and I just wanted to thank you for your help today. We jumped on the back of one of your feeds at one stage when we lost the sound from ours, and thank you for allowing us to jump on your back of your Starlink again. I look forward to being able to do more with you, and obviously if you need a hand with anything, just reach out and we'll be there for you, mate. No problems at all.
Right, yeah, thank you for Carl.
A quick update on Wade before you go.
Yeah, he's going fairly well. He's still in hospital, but he's looking at getting out fairly soon. And yeah, we're starting to get him out and about to a few little outings and that. And I'm catching up with him tonight. We're going to be recording an interview which will be put to air sometime in the not too distant future.
Very good.
Yeah, he's going pretty well, all things considering. I think a lot of the nurses and the therapists and that are pretty impressed and surprised with how well he's recovering from it. And so no, he's going along fairly well. It's been excellent. It's obviously not quick enough for him or for anyone, but he's doing well. So we just got to ease him back into things.
We'll pass our love on to him, mate. Think of him every day. He's in our prayers every day, and I'm glad that things are going well. And Belinda too. Pass on our best to her.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, mate. You have a good one, and we'll catch up soon.
Yep. Right. Yeah. We'll see you later. Thanks, Carl.
Bye. Don't forget, folks, you can catch up with Billboard Battalion online at YouTube. They've got a great Facebook page too, and Nick keeps all things IT up to date there. And you get a bit of news about Wade as well. We'll keep telling you what's going on in Victoria with these folks trying to invade the properties as it comes to hand. And with a little bit of luck, we will be able to send Tony up the street and onto the properties again. So we've got a first-hand view, just in case one day they decide they're not going to take no for an answer, because unfortunately, that's probably what it's going to come down to one day. Right. It's that time of the night where we do the update for this bloke. So for those of you playing the game at home, Greg has had 2 toes removed off his left foot. That would be the last little toe and the one beside it. And for the last, I want to say 7 to 9 days, that has been an open wound that has been allowed to begin healing. And it is, for those that can handle it, we would show, but we don't know who can't handle it, so we won't show the photos. But it is looking really, really healthy for something that does look pretty ghastly if you aren't ready for the experience. Now, Greg today was due to go in and have a sort of a cap put over that, if you like, something that skin could grow over. It's not a graft exactly. It is more like a bridge that skin can grow over. I am reliably informed. In fact, I can tell you that he is out of surgery. He went in just prior to the show starting and came out. I beg your pardon. He came out just prior to the show starting. So he sent me a photo, and I won't share it with you. It's still a little gory. But the good news is that the flap of skin is on, and now the real healing begins. Tony and Rachel and the rest of the healing team, I'm sure, are doing what they can, and he's in my prayers that we get all this fixed and ready for him to come and be part of our crew when we hit our cruise in May the 4th. So with a bit of luck, he will be with us. All we've got to do is make sure the wheelchair doesn't bump into the poop deck stairs or anything, and he should be all right. We keep the foot elevated. Everything should be okay. Having said that, there will be a bit of work that we might have to learn how to do, dressing it or whatever is required. But we will move heaven and earth to make sure that Greg manages to get on the boat with his young bloke and come and enjoy our 4-night cruise. I think it's Monday through Friday, but yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, 4 nights, back very early on the Friday morning. And we're going to Airlie Beach. Now, if you want to catch us in Airlie Beach, it's on the 6th. And I believe the ship will arrive at some stage in the morning. those people wanting to go ashore or go to Hamilton Island or wherever other places you can go and see, will be able to go and see it. I won't be going too far. I'll probably just go the main street of Airlie Beach and have a bit of a look around before getting back to the Whitsunday Sailing Club prior to 12:30, which I think is the time we've booked for lunch. So there'll be a few people from the cruise who are going to come on the lunch, and I know there's Lynn and her partner. There is half a chance, I'm not holding my breath, it's a long way for him to drive, but there is half a chance that Captain Skipper Pete might come for a drive. But it's a long way to drive, and it's the middle of the week, and it's difficult. So, but you never know. He might turn up. There might be a few others from up that way who might poke their heads in. And I would encourage anybody who's got friends in the area and you think they might enjoy a few laughs and a bit of eye-opening conversation, then invite them along to the Whitsunday Sailing Club, May the 6th, tables in my name or Voice of Freedom, and I think it's a 12:30 start. So look forward to seeing as many of you there that can't be on the cruise as possible. Okay, Angie, Airlie Beach went to beautiful. Yeah, I've heard that's not a bad place to be. Hamilton's now owned by Blackstone. Yeah, I'm not high on my list of places to go and visit. Of course, Blackstone is different to Black Rock, but it is what it is. Hello, all. You're a bit late. Yes, Ange, that's okay. You're allowed to be late. We're about to finish, so you're really late. Paul is offering thought of the day for what the... Greg, soak your foot in rum. It'll help. I've got to be honest, Paul, I think right now it just might sting a bit. Especially that OP rum that you like to probably drink. I know I did. Oh, geez, that brings back some... Well, I was going to say that brings back some memories, but all it really does is bring back some blank spots. More than I'd like to admit. Yep, you know what it's like. I'm just having a bit of a quick flick through your comments just to see if there's any weird and wonderful questions. Vic Fines was privatised yonks ago. It's not just Victorian fines. All state-run fine corporations are privately run. It's part of the induced slavery. And in fact, I'm still fighting one of those. So anyway, that's a whole other story. And if I get into talking about it, yeah, not going to love me or like me very much for that. All right, folks, so I'm going to love you and leave you. It's been, like I say, you've probably seen enough of me today. 3 shows in one day. What were we thinking? If you'd like to help us out, you can do so by going to our website, merch.vofhq.com. There are a number of tabs along across the top there. If you click on the shop one, you'll be able to go and check out our range of crockery, which is very nice. We've got some great coffee mugs with some very interesting words on them. We've got a new range of hoodies. And we also, if you click on the Sanctuary 750 link, we have changed the amount of tickets that you are able to purchase in the lottery in a vain hope that we might get this thing knocked over sooner rather than later. So unless you're in Victoria, everybody else can buy as many tickets as you like now for $2 each. And we will endeavour to close this last $750 lottery as fast as humanly possible. So if you have got a shekel or 3 spare and you'd like to help out the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary, Sandy and co were in the chat here earlier tonight. So so we would love you to help support there. What there is saying, got the local anaesthetic working still, so yo-ho-ho, yo-ho-ho. He's doing well, and I've got to say, he is entertaining everybody on the ward because he has his very trusty and very useful mouth organ. I've got one too. We are going to be doing some pretty spectacular things on the boat with dueling mouth organs. Can I just say? Harmonicas, not mouth organs. So, yes, we're going to have a bit of fun with that. So he's practicing in the ward and is getting applause, amongst other things, from the nursing staff. So he will be doing probably much more of the playing than I will be. I tend to hold it a lot and do a lot, and that's about it. I'm endeavoring to improve. Practice makes perfect, and I still got a couple of weeks to improve. All right, folks, before I go tonight, I'm going to leave you with this thought from Elon Musk. He says Australians are becoming an endangered species. Why? Because he's just become aware of the Labor government's immigration policy. Now, speaking of immigration, there will be a rally on Sunday against our immigration policy. That's being put together by the Save Australia mob, which Scott Challen, couldn't think of his last name, is leading. Now, Scott is former RAAF. Thank you very much for your service, Scott. He's leading a crew from Queensland down, leaving at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning from the BP at Yatala. I know a couple of people who are going to be cruising along for the ride, and God love them. Be safe on the roads, all of you. Scott has also put together quite a large endeavour involving a semi-trailer that he's going to traipse around the country on. I'm really keen to hear more about plans for that, but getting him to talk seems a bit hard. We hopefully will try and get something from him over the weekend. It's possible on Saturday, after the Anzac Day service, there'll be maybe time for a bit of a catch-up as he tours the new RAF exhibit at the War Memorial. I'm sure he'll do that before going off and planting, I don't know how many flags for Sunday. How many people turn up at that event? Who knows? I have heard there will be at least one politician there, though, and that politician is going to be Bob Katter. So you can rest assured that it will be a lively event if Bob Katter is decided to come down from far north Queensland and inject himself into Canberra at a time he doesn't have to be there. This is obviously an issue that means a lot to him. We know it does. The Katter Party in Australia, particularly in far north Queensland, certainly in Queensland, are growing in strength, and they have seen and support, I think, One Nation in what they're doing in many, many ways. Be interesting to see who from One Nation might turn up. I suspect somebody will. Or it might be more interesting to see who doesn't turn up. But at any rate, good luck to everybody. If you are going to be travelling down, I suspect you're probably sleeping now. I would hope you will sleep and have a very good sleep before meeting up with everybody at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's a long-haul drive down to Canberra. From Yatala, I'm going to be generous and say it's at least 14 hours. And by the time you pull up and get a bit of fuel and have a walk around and have a wee and do all those good things you've got to do, you're probably looking at 14 to 15-hour drive. So good luck, be safe, enjoy your cold night in Canberra or cold nights in Canberra. And by all means, if you would like to be a live streamer from any of the events happening in Canberra for us over the weekend, then just reach out to me, carl@vofhq.com. Keith, I'm looking at you. We might do a little bit of something with you, and we'll see what happens. So keep a bit of an eye out over the weekend, Sunday in particular, for what's going to happen in Canberra. Right, on that note, I'll pause for breath. Yep, that was the breath. And wish you all a very good night. I hope you have a nice night, warm where it is where you are. It was bloody cold where I am last night. I hope it's not as chilly, or I don't think it is as chilly tonight. So I'll be back to sleeping in shorts again. Look out. Be safe on the roads, folks. There are dickheads out there everywhere. And we'll see you tomorrow for the Friday free-for-all.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!